यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना जमुना तीरा वनचारिया जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरे। कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरे। जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopaha Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, entitled The Creation of Fourth Order, Chapter 23, entitled Maharaj Prithu's Going Back Home, and text 10. Just wait for a minute for the display to turn on. Okay. Text 10. Bhagavad Dharmina Sadho Shraddhaya Yatata Sada Bhakti Bhagavati Brahmani Ananya Vishaya Abhavad Bhagavad Dharmina Sadho Bhagavad Dharmina Sadho Shraddhaya Yatata Sada Shraddhaya Yatata Sada Bhaktir Bhagavati Brahmani Bhaktir Bhagavati Brahmani Ananya Vishaya Bhavad Ananya Vishaya Bhava Bhagavad Dharmina Sadho Shraddhaya Yatata Sada Bhaktir Bhagavati Brahmani Ananya Vishaya Bhava Bhagavad Dharmina Sadho Shraddhaya Yatata Sada Bhaktir Bhagavati Brahmani Ananya Vishaya Bhava. Please recite. Bhagavad Bhakti Sadhu. भक्तिर्भगवतिर्ब्राह्मणी अनन्या विषया भवात् भगवद्धर्मिणः साधो श्रद्धया यतता सदा भक्तिर्भगवतिर्ब्राह्मणी अनन्या विषया भवात् भगवद्धर्मिणः साधो श्रद्धया यतता सदा भक्तिर्भगवतिर्ब्राह्मणी अनन्या विषया भवात्. Anybody from Vaishnavis? भगवद्धर्मिणः साधो श्रद्धया यतता सदा भक्तिर्भगवतिर्ब्राह्मणी अनन्या विषया भवात्. We'll see word to word meaning. Bhagavad-dharmina, one who executes devotional service. Sadho, of the devotee. Shraddhaya, with faith. Yatata, endeavoring. Sada, always. Bhakti, devotion. Bhagavati, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahmani, the origin of impersonal Brahman. Ananya Vishaya, firmly fixed without deviation. Abhavat, became. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. Maharaj Prithu thus engaged completely in devotional service, executing the rules and regulations strictly according to the principles, 24 hours daily. Thus, his love and devotion unto Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, developed and became unflinching and fixed. So please recite translation in response. Maharaj Prithu thus engaged completely in devotional service, executing the rules and regulations strictly according to the principles, 24 hours daily. Thus, his love and devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, developed and became unflinching and fixed. Purport. The word Bhagavad Dharmina indicates that the religious process practiced by Maharaj Prithu was beyond all pretensions. As stated in beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Dharma Projita Kaitavatra, religious principles which are simply pretentious are actually nothing but cheating. Bhagavad Dharmina is described by Veera Raghava Acharya as Nivritta Dharmena, which indicates that it cannot be contaminated by material aspiration. As described by Srila Rupa Goswami, Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavrutam Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam Bhaktiruttama. When one is not inspired by material desires and is not contaminated by the process of fruitive activity and empiric speculation, fully engages in favorable devotional service to the Lord, his service is called Bhagavad Dharma or pure devotional service. In this verse, the word Brahmani does not refer to the impersonal Brahman. Impersonal Brahman is a subordinate feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And since impersonal Brahman worshippers desire to merge into the Brahman effulgence, they cannot be considered as followers of Bhagavad Dharma. After being baffled in his material enjoyment, the impersonalist may desire to merge into the existence of the Lord. But a pure devotee of the Lord has no such desire. Therefore, a pure devotee is really Bhagavad Dharmi. It is clear from this verse that Maharaj Prithu was never a worshipper of the impersonal Brahman, but was at all times a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavati Brahmani refers to one who is engaged in devotional service to the Personality of Godhead. A devotee's knowledge of impersonal Brahman is automatically revealed, and he is not interested in merging into the impersonal Brahman. Maharaj Prithu's activities in devotional service enabled him to become fixed and steady in the discharge of devotional service without having to take recourse of karma, jnana or yoga. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shrita Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Bhagwan Ki Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Hare Krishna. So first of all, I seek blessings of all the assembled devotees, in particular His Grace Anandmay Prabhu, so that we can discuss from Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, this chapter, Maitreya is concluding his narration of Prithu Maharaja's pastime. So in last 4 or 5 chapters, we have been seeing the activities of Prithu Maharaj, how he appeared. His appearance was very strange. He appeared from the churning of the body of Vena. And along with the appearance of Prithu Maharaj, his wife also appeared, Archi. So there only there is a prediction that they have appeared just to establish the dharma. Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, every time I appear, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So it may also be translated as every time I appear, I establish dharma. Like that. Not whenever there is adharma, we can read it in that way also. So here Prithu Maharaj's dharma was to establish a ruling force. Because Vena was a very mischievous king. See, an irreligious king can engage masses into irreligion. And a religious king can also engage masses in religion. So because that's why Krishna says, Yadyad acharati shreshtas. So Arjuna, you have a very great responsibility. If you become a king, specifically, because generally, even nowadays we can see, generally kings are on the, great attention. Like every day you will see the news about a king or a prime minister, what is he doing? Even so much so that even the film star, the sports stars will not be in the news every day almost. But the king is almost on the news every day. Only when a particular sport is very famous at a time, they become the object of news. But the kings are on always attention that what is he doing. So yeah, that's why Krishna is telling Yadyad acharati shreshtas. So similarly, Prithu Maharaj appeared to establish religion. So what was his main duty is to establish a very great saintly kings. So after having done that, this chapter describes about later phase. So when he was king, he chastised Mother Earth for not giving desired results or deserved results of the citizens. because Mother Earth was accepting the worship of the people. The yajnas were going on, because after Prithu Maharaj became the king, he re-established yajnas, but still Mother Earth was not giving desired ingredients for maintenance of living entities. So Prithu Maharaj punished Mother Earth and got back all the ingredients that are needed for citizens. He also, in a kind of way, had a tussle with Indra for performing 100th Ashwamedha Yajnas. Then we see that in the life of Prithu Maharaj, he was blessed by the association of 4 Kumaras. And he continued to rule. He gave instructions to the citizens. So he led the ideal king's life. What all the king is supposed to do. So generally that time frame of the king, when king is ruling, becomes very popular. But there is another phase of life of a king which also should be given attention, as Bhagavatam gives, is that after retiring what he did. Like we also hear in 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that Bharat Maharaj was ruling the entire planetary systems. He then later on gave portions of lands to his sons, and then he went and did austerity. Right? So similarly here, Prithu Maharaj also, after completing his reign of maybe thousands of years, we don't know, and then he is taken retirement. So that's what Varnashram system for especially kings emphasize, that you have to go and retire in forest. Why? Because living in a city or with lot of sense gratification around, a person will not be able to focusly meditate on Supreme Personality of Godhead. Generally those have a lot of comforts. They look for more comforts. They cannot focus on Supreme Personality of Godhead in a very intense way. So that's why a king after a particular time retires. Just like Dasharath Maharaj also did that. After he ruled for a very long time, he decided, okay, my son Ramachandra will become king and I will go to forest. And sometimes these kings go to forest. Why we don't hear about kings going to forest and what they did so much? One of the condition is that when you go to forest, you should live in such a way that nobody identifies you. So how will you know his activities? Because imagine a king rules the entire planet and he is in the forest and people know him, or a king is staying here. Then automatically he will get so many comforts. That a king is staying in a small hut, people will come and build a big palace for him. So somehow, because of Maitreya's revelation, we know what all Prithu Maharaj did. But generally the rule for these kings who rule, who are very big kings, is that when you go to forest, nobody should know where you are. Like that. So however, Prithu Maharaj went to forest, and in the beginning of this chapter, we see that how he performed austerities. And when I was reading through this section, saw quite similarities between Dhruva Maharaj and Prithu Maharaj. It is described that he also went to Tapovan, and Dhruva Maharaj also performed his austerities in Tapovan. Just like Dhruva Maharaj, earlier in the beginning of his austerities was eating fruits. Like when we eat fruits, we really feel nourished. It has good juices, especially in this season. People are fond of eating mangoes, nice juicy fruits. So that is one level of austerity. What is that one level of austerity? Why eating fruits is one level of austerity is that we give up cooked food. Because when we eat cooked food, we cook food as per our desire, as per our taste, as per our likings. But when we eat naturally given fruits, the sweetness of those fruits is not designed by you. You just accept it. That is one level of austerity. And after having eaten fruits, he ate only dry leaves. It is described like that. That is next level of austerity. Like when we eat fruits, when we want to eat mango, we go and pluck the mango. That much at least we do. When it is ripened, we pluck the mango. Because if you don't pluck the mango when it is ripened, it becomes rotten. Over ripened and then rotten. So in the next phase of austerity, Dhruva Maharaj, both, they ate dried leaves. Dried leaves means what? the leaves become dry and fall on its own. You are not even harming the tree as much as plucking the fruit. You dry leaves. And after that, your leaves subsist only on breathing air, just like Dhruva Maharaj did. So what this goes to show is that slowly and slowly we should have a plan. How do we give up sense gratification? Sometimes sense gratification, by the mercy of Supreme Lord or by the mercy of pure devotees, can be just evaporated in few minutes. Just like when Narada Muni was preaching to this hunter called Mrigari. When Mrigari came in touch with Narada Muni, that purification process was very quick. Narada Muni spoke to him. He gave him a glimpse of how your sinful activities will reap fruits. Then immediately Mrigari surrendered and Narada Muni delivered him immediately. But that may happen, may not happen for everyone. Just by hearing the example of Mrigari, we cannot take that, okay, I will also go to forest, hunt half animals, and Narada Muni will come and he will deliver us. It may not happen. Generally, the Varnashram system is that give up step-by-step sense gratification. Give up step-by-step sense gratification. And in giving up that sense gratification, there is some effort. There is some effort that is indicated in this verse by Shraddhaya Yatata Sada. So if you want to emphasize on this line, if you can display the verse on the board. Shraddhaya means with faith. What is that faith? Faith in the instructions of Guru. See, somebody may abstractly get an idea that I should go to forest and perform austerities. But if you are not guided by Guru, it will not benefit you. Like it is described that Shaubari Muni, he went and did austerities in water for 10,000 years, for a very long time. So that his skin became like, if you keep hand in water for a long time, how your skin becomes, rubbery. His skin became like that. But because he was not guided by the Supreme Lord or pure devotees of Supreme Lord, his austerity does not give desired result. The moment he saw sense gratification, he immediately thought sense gratification, like that. Whereas Dhruva Maharaj, you will see that he was guided by Narada Muni. And here Prithu Maharaj was guided by 4 Kumaras. So Shraddhaya means instructions in the orders of spiritual master. That is Shraddhaya. And then the next word says Yatataha. Yatataha means you do little bit endeavor. Because when we do austerities, mind sometimes gives reflex action. Why I should do austerity? Even in devotional service, when we have so much of variety, people are not so much, very much for doing austerity. Like we generally say, Ekadashis we should fast. But then people say, Prabhu, Ekadashi prasadam is also available. So we will take Ekadashi prasadam. Like that. So there is so much of variety and flexity available in devotional service also. Even in devotional service, that's why even when we become devotees, it is not that endeavor should go away. That is indicated by the word called Sada. Shraddhaya, Yatata, Sada. Always there should be endeavor. Because why there should be endeavor in devotional service is that by default in this material world, everything goes down. Like when we are in the flow of river, like if you want to go and take bath in river which is flowing, we go almost till knee deep or sometimes till waist deep and we take bath. So when we go into that river, just to be stable in that river also there is some force that we exert. If you stand on the land and if you go and stand in the water which is flowing, we have to exert a little bit force even just to stand at that place. So similarly in this material world, there is so much of material influence. Whatever you do in this material world, it will take you down. It will take you down means give impetus for sense gratification. So that's why there should be always endeavor. And Prithu Maharaj, being an empowered incarnation of the Lord, Shakti Avesh Avatar, he is showing by his own an example. What enjoyments he used to have in this kingdom as a king is completely different in forest. So that is what is step by step giving up sense gratification. So in Varnashram system, what I was telling is that first is Brahmacharya Ashram, where a particular person performs austerities. If he is happy with the austerities in this material world, if his mind is not distracted by sense gratification, he can continue like that and continue to become a sannyasi and go back home, back to Godhead. But if his mind is agitated by sense gratification, then Varnashram system says, okay, no problem, you can become Grahastha and do responsibility, do dharma also there. Then slowly give up that attachment. So the next stage for a Grahastha is that when the children grow up, or at a right time, whenever your Guru gives indications, or whenever you feel that call of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that give up. Like in the life of Srila Prabhupada also we see that he was also a very dutiful Grahastha. He had children, he had wife, but at the right time he decided, okay, I give up them and go ahead. So then, the next stage is Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means you are not so much attached to your children, but you can travel around with your wife to holy places, become little bit purified. And then you take up sannyas. And in that also there are various stages. Like in the first stage of sannyas, it is allowed that you eat food from your home. Like that. Some places it is there like that. Slowly. Then after next stage, you go around and beg alms and eat. Like that, in step by step, when we take purification, then it is a very perfect package. That there is a possibility of attaining unflinching devotional service. What is the result of Shraddhaya Yatata Sada? Is that Ananya Vishaya Abhavat. Abhavat means achieved. What did he achieve? Ananya Vishaya means without deviation, fully focused on Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because generally when a person is king, he is always filled with the thought that will my neighboring king also attack me? Do have enough reserves to maintain citizens? Is everyone following rules and regulations? Is everyone following dharma? So mind is distracted in so many different thought processes. Even for a grahastha, there is so many different angles of thought process. Think about children, think about wife, think about home, think about society, think about charity, then think about dharma, then devotional service. So many things are there. But when we give up that slowly, and then we make a focused endeavor as per the instructions of spiritual master, then it is possible that Ananya Vishaya Abhavat. So what is that Ananya? The word in the prefix of Ananya, Anya, also comes in Rupa Goswami's instruction. Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So when we execute devotional service, like Prithu Maharaj, when he was earlier as a king, when he did yagyas, he had that desire of making 100 Ashwamedha yagyas or maintaining the citizens like that. But slowly when he gave up all that, Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktiruttama. So pure devotional service means this. Pure devotional service is that it is directed towards Krishna, favorably devoted towards Krishna, without any desire for any results in the opposite, completely free from mental speculation, jnana, yoga, all these things are gone. And then there is Anushilanam. Krishna Anushilanam means that we follow the instructions of our Guru, follow instructions of previous acharyas. Then it becomes pure devotional service. So Prithu Maharaj has achieved that. So somebody has achieved pure devotional service. For him, nothing can distract his mind. Nothing can deviate his mind. And what is the result? Of course, result Ananya Vishaya Bhavat. Of that also there is a superior result. What is the result is that we go back home, back to Godhead. If you see how this Krishna consciousness movement started, before ISKCON was established, was Back to Godhead. There was a magazine which was run by Srila Prabhupada with title Back to Godhead. Why? Because in this material world, we are all stray dogs. Stray dog means on the street when we go around, we see that the dogs which do not have any masters. And those kind of dogs are beaten up by everyone who passes by. So similarly in this material world, it is a wrong place where we have come. Many times people try to have permanent address. Right? So many times when we fill form or do any application, they ask you what is your permanent address. And we also, because we have to act in that platform, we write this is my permanent address. But actually our permanent address is Vaikunta. We came from Vaikunta. This is our temporary address. The problem is that we think our temporary address to be permanent address. And we try to make so many adjustments. Thinking that, what is that adjustment? Temporary address to permanent address. But actually our permanent address is Vaikunta. So Prithu Maharaj, by his example, is showing both the things. How to live in temporary address, how to go back to permanent address. And Prithu Maharaj and his wife also followed the footsteps of Prithu Maharaj and went back to Godhead. So that should be our ultimate aspiration, that we act in this life in such a way that we go back home, back to Godhead. Of course, when we speak about very high realm of devotional service, that the devotees don't even have that desire of going back to Godhead. They just have desire of only serving Krishna. But in general, when we speak about going back to Godhead, is that we try to serve Krishna without any hindrance. Like in this material world, even if you become pure devotee, we still have some inhibitions. Like for example, if I can think about an example, this is the example of Gadadhar Pandit, if I am not wrong, associate of Lord Chaitanya. When he became very old, it was becoming difficult for him to even garland the deity of Tota Gopinath. Similarly, Sanatan Goswami, when he was becoming old, it was becoming difficult for him to go around Govardhan Parikrama. Like that. So even in this material world, even if you become a pure devotee, there will be some inhibitions. But if you go back to Godhead, there is no inhibitions. How much ever you want to do service, you can do. Just like when we were small children, when we had good energy, whole day we can play. Even without eating food, whole day we can play. Something like pure devotional service. But still, that has a limit of time. But when we go back to Godhead, you don't have any hunger. You don't become old. You want to play with Krishna, you can continuously play with Krishna as much as the time you want to play, as much as the time Krishna wants to play. There is no inhibition of time, there is no inhibition of old age, no disease, nothing. You can just serve Krishna continuously. So when we say that we want to go back to Godhead, it is not that, the impetus is not that we get rid of these sufferings in this material world. The impetus should be that I continuously serve Krishna. Like for example, Prithu Maharaj got little bit deviated from devotional service when Indra disturbed him. Dhruva Maharaj also got little bit disturbed in his devotional service when Yakshas killed his young elder brother. So like that we see that even if you are a pure devotee in this material world, some disturbances will come because the way material world is. But when we go back to Godhead, it is described in future verses that Prithu Maharaj, when he completely annihilated his bodily concept of life, Vaikunta plane came. Vaikunta plane carried him back to Godhead, and another plane came, another plane carried his wife also back to Godhead. So that is the advantage, that if wife follows the husband, and both are religious, not that just wife follows the husband blindly. Wife follows the husband is also very religious, husband became completely purified, automatically wife will become purified. Because if you stay in Grahastha ashram, if husband is purified, automatically he will make his wife also purified. Because the way system of Grahastha ashram is like that. So husband went back to Godhead, wife also went back to Godhead, continuously serve Krishna. So that is the goal of this Krishna consciousness movement, that we take up devotion service, we give up attachment slowly, we develop attachment to Krishna slowly, because we want to give up this material world completely and continuously, without any inhibitions, serve Krishna. So this is the example from Prithu Maharaj's life. How to rule, how to be devotee, how to understand instructions from Guru, how to follow, how to accept vanaprastha situation or in a detached way, go back home, back to Godhead. Of course, in this purport, Prabhupada speaks about impersonal Brahman also. Anyways, devotees are not so much attached to impersonal Brahman. Because impersonal Brahman, we understand that is an subordinate feature of Supreme Lord. In this verse, if we say, Bhaktir Bhagavati Brahmani. So this Brahmani refers to impersonal Brahman, but also Brahmani can also be attributed to Bhaktir Bhagavati. Bhagavati means Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Brahmani sometimes also can refer to one who is beyond the modes of material nature. So Bhaktir Bhagavati Brahmani also refers to executing devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the three modes of material nature. Like that. So in this way, when we execute devotional service to the Supreme Lord, who is beyond the three modes, we also become beyond the three modes and go back home, back to Godhead. So that is what is my understanding and realizations. In translation, you will see a very special word which Prabhupada says. You will see that Prabhupada writes 24 hours daily. If you go to Sanskrit words, Bhagavad Dharmina Sadho Shraddhaya Yatata Sada Bhaktir Bhagavati Brahmani Ananya Vishaya Abhavat, you will not see 24 hours being described in the Sanskrit verse. But why Prabhupada speaks 24 hours? 24 hours, this is the way we relate. When we speak about something, 24 hours means doesn't stop any time, like that. So Prabhupada sometimes bring out these words just to give us an indication. 24 hours daily. So that is what Krishna consciousness is meant for. So thank you all very much for giving me opportunity and time for discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. Anybody has any questions or comments, can please do so. Yes, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay. So the question is, when we see that these personalities have heard from a guru, they come to the level of following the spiritual master. But we also hear so many instructions, but we are not able to come to the standard of following. So where are we lacking? What is wrong with us? So I'll just narrate one instance of Srila Prabhupada's interaction with his disciple. So once, like Prabhupada was preaching